You're such an asshole.
So did you have another consulting
I
one?
got a bunch of asshole consulting. It's up to you if you don't want to do it, dude. But while we got this going and recording now, this
No,
is
I can do
finance
it. Is it
related.
related to finance and accounting or?
Yeah. There's some finance on this one. There's other ones that aren't, but I'll do those on my own. But this one is finance related. So what I'll do is I'll rip the audio off of this, and I'll put together a separate video. But while we're here, why not have two brilliant brains work on one?
Yeah, sure. I get a cut too. My 5%.
Oh my God. Yes, your 5% cut. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 5%. Yeah. Hey, Aaron, I enjoy reading your books. Thanks for putting out such good content. Okay, here's my story, followed by my questions. I am 42 years old. I got a degree in jazz studies and have been making a modest living as a professional musician for the last 20 years. I have no debt, about $75,000 in an IRA invested in a total stock market index fund. 6 years ago, my father passed away and left me half his house in Los Angeles that I own in joint tenancy with my brother. We both have been living in it, but we have decided to sell it. It's valued around $2 million because of its location. There's a small mortgage of $50,000. The house needs a lot of work, and my brother and I are getting ready to sell it. My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years, and we are a good fit. She has a very nice home in Henderson, Nevada, that she bought in 2011, but mainly sits empty. She is a camera operator and travels for work. Wait, hang on. Let me read that again. She has a home in Henderson. She bought in 20. It sits mainly empty. All right, so she's out in L.A. with him then. She is a camera operator and travels for work. We get along very well and are thinking of pair bonding. I used to be a liberal, but have become a conservative, at least on economic issues. She's a fiscal conservative, which I really like because of all my prior girlfriends have been raging leftists. Here are my questions. Should I marry her and move to Henderson? See, Chad, an accounting question. It's simple as tax. Should I marry her and move to Henderson? I want to stop being dependent on my music gigs income, and I can't stand the political views of most of my friends and fellow musicians, not to mention the traffic in Los Angeles. I am house rich and cash poor. I've been studying asset allocation strategies for several years and considering taking my portion from the sale of my father's house and investing in a portfolio of mostly low-cost index mutual funds and living on about a 3% withdrawal rate. Well, he could do that. What, $1 million, assuming no capital gains tax, and California does whatever.
Hold up. Henderson is near Vegas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a suburb of Vegas. I'm in Henderson right now.
So they would move there if they got married. Is that what he's saying?
Well, she's there now. She got a house in Henderson. He'd sell his place, live in that house, I presume, because why buy two houses? They get married. Then you have $1 million at the age of 42 sitting in low-cost index funds. So he's doing the early retirement extreme, or the Mr. Money mustache thing.
Okay.
I think the math on that is $500,000 by the time you're 42 or 44, and you take out 3%, and that'll last you till you're 85 or dead or something like that. So.
I mean, I can give a very general answer about the getting married. This is obviously from a tax standpoint. It's general because I haven't seen either of their incomes or anything, but tax reform made it a lot better to get married, a lot better, starting in 2018. So that's all I can really say about that. And Nevada doesn't have an income tax, a state income tax. So, I mean, both of those things seem to say do it. But I feel like the rest of it's more in your wheelhouse, about the pros and cons of marriage.
Well, yeah, that's mine would be the non-financial analysis, but we'll get through the rest of it. You've got a couple more points to make here. My girlfriend is cool with me living in her house with her even when she's working out of town. She has about $100,000 into the home with a 3.5% mortgage rate. Should I offer to reimburse her for half of what she has into the home for half ownership, since we are planning on staying together? Or should I just let her be the homeowner? I continue to give her some bread for living there. Thank you, Ollie. What you may know this, but I guess it would change state to state. If he gets married, aren't they under communal asset law or something like that?
Nevada might be one of them. Yeah, Nevada might be a community property state, which, yeah, then he would get half.
Yeah. Well, he'd be already, quote unquote, half owner, but I think he's asking more of a moral question because he has this desire to earn his keep. He just doesn't want to loaf off of her and like, hey, how you doing? I'm living here now, because he either wants to
I
pay
see
her
what you're
rent.
saying. It's hard for me to answer this because for me everything's from like a tax or money standpoint, as in what makes the most sense for him individually or the two of them together.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really speak for morals.
Well, one thing I did, I was kind of curious. I said, "Do you want to have kids?" Because if you're going to have kids, then I would say, yeah, you better get married. Not for financial or tax reasons, but because of it's your fucking kids.
Well, no, even I would say that. Like that's if you're gonna have kids, get married. More. I wish everybody would do that.
Yeah, but he says we don't want kids. She's 43 and has a very lucrative career as a camera operator. So we both decided it's not in the cards. Look forward to your response. Best, and I'll keep him anonymous because he does have a unique name. Well, let's go through these kind of one by one. The guy's in great shape, especially for a musician, because I don't know how many musicians have 70,000 in an IRA, sitting on a house they own half of, no debt. Actually, we're professional musicians. So this guy's got hustle. He's got work ethic, and I also think I know he's in LA and he's done very well for himself, especially by musician standards. I think he'll do better in Las Vegas because there's just way more demand for music here. It's just better. It's just Vegas blows Los Angeles away any day on pretty much every measure possible. So somewhere in here he indicated he was maybe worried about, I'd have to get a real job or something like. Well, I don't know. One, you have a real job if you're this successful as a musician. Two, being a musician is a real job here in Las Vegas, because I think it's LA and then Las Vegas in terms of entertainment industry, and then it quickly drops off to Branson, Missouri, or Nashville, I think.
I mean, if I can say this, and I do think he could find a gig in Las Vegas. Like, if you have a chance to get out of California and particularly Los Angeles, you fucking take it, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just telling. I'm going chronologically in terms of his questions. So I'm just impressed he has a jazz studies degree and he's making money. That's all I'm saying.
That is pretty good. Yeah, I don't see that a lot, actually.
So it tells me he's a professional. He has a hard work ethic, and if he had any concerns about his career as a musician, I think they'd be assuaged because Vegas is a good market for musicians, assuming you have hustle and professionalism, like say our good friend Matt Baldoni.
Yeah, I mean he's. I'd say.
All right. As far as my eyes take me, it only gets better from here. Unfortunately, his father did pass away, but he left him and his brother in a really great situation. His brother's not giving him no guff. You guys are both agreeing to sell the house, and along with what Chad Elkins recommends, get the fuck out of Los Angeles. There's no reason to be in Los Angeles or California. Just get out of California. And right next door, conveniently, you have the exact same weather, minus the ocean. I admit there's no ocean here.
No state income tax.
No state income tax. Traffic is nowhere near as bad as LA. And there's just so much stuff to do around Las Vegas. That's why I winter down here.
It really is a great time to get married from a tax standpoint. It really is with tax reform. I just want to throw that in there. It doesn't mean, that should be the basis of your decision. And there's a super chat, which I'm going to elaborate on after we're done with this regarding that. But yeah.
What's the big advantage of getting married? Is there a financial benefit even if you don't have kids?
Well, what they've done is so do you know that? I think you do, Aaron. You know the difference between the standard deduction and itemized deduction with So when you got married, it used to be only about 12,500, and now they've basically doubled it because now it's up to 24,000. The standard deduction for married couples is 24,000, which is a hell of a thing.
What's for the individual?
Individual is doubled to 12,000 too.
Okay, so it's 12,000 individual, 24,000 as a couple. So what does it matter if they got married or not? It's still 24 together.
Well, tax brackets have decreased because of this whole thing.
But if you're filing joint, what I'm trying to understand is they're cumulative, either together or separate, they get the same 24,000 cumulatively, correct?
Well, yes, but at the same time, tax brackets have gone down. So if you got married in 2017 or earlier, you know, you used to, yeah, it was a $12,000 standard, but they put you in a higher tax bracket. And I'm going to guess these two aren't going to be breaking the penny.
Okay. So as individuals, the brackets are higher, is what you're saying.
Well, you get more of a benefit. It seems to me that the way they tried to make everything work out with this new tax reform is that it's a lot like you're not penalized for getting married because you combine your income and you move into a new tax bracket, but now that new tax bracket is a lot lower than it used to be.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's the very general answer. There's a lot of other things, but there's no better time to get married except for one thing. Now, if they do get divorced, alimony is not tax deductible anymore, just as a thing. So that's one thing to keep in mind. That's the flip side.
I don't really see a reason to get married. I know Chad has his argument for the tax benefit, which is there, no doubt it's there. But if you're not going to have kids, I don't see what business it is of the government getting married. If you want to get married, I get married at a ceremony of whatever religion or whatever you guys believe, whatever you want, because that's a contract between you two individually.
Oh, right. I'm merely talking from a tax standpoint. Like, I think it's best not to get the government involved in your personal life outside of that. I'm agreeing with you. Like, yeah.
But I'm gonna optimistically assume he's in love, and this will work out. Optimistically, if it doesn't work out, well, now you're gonna have to contact lawyers. But assuming it is, I'm indifferent whether you get married or not, because for me, the main decision factor is if you're going to have kids. If you're not going to have kids, I don't see it there. And then, as Chad said, there's some tax benefits to getting married, but then there's some tax drawbacks to getting divorced. So I think we kind of handle. So it's up to you, dude. It's really. I talk to her, see what she wants to do, see what her thoughts are on it.
Did they say anything about kids, or did he say?
Yeah, he said no kids, no kids.
No kids. I guess they're in their 40s. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just gonna make a lot of money and have fun in Vegas. How horrible.
Awful.
So then he's got this $1 million that he just wants to throw into an index mutual fund. I'm inclined to agree with him because the index mutual fund, you know, you can try and beat the index if you want. Majority of funds and managers don't. And if you're doing what the early retirement extreme strategy, which I think he is, he throws his money into an average returning mutual fund. And yes, everything could go wrong with it. Possibly that could. But historically speaking, blah, 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 that $1 million should take care of you, especially if you keep working and you don't have to withdraw from it going forward. I don't think he can retire at 42. I don't think he'll, like, psychologically could do it. I think he'd want to play, he'd want to work, he'd want to do something. So he's in as good of a situation he can possibly be in terms of retirement. So I would definitely sell that house, definitely take the money, throw it into the index mutual funds. Yes, it could go down. Yes, it could go up. But maybe you might want to toy around with looking at some high dividend funds, but that's up to you. In general, go ahead, park it, because he doesn't need to buy a house with it.
No, I was going to say, this is outside of my wheelhouse, but is there any way that he could get some regular dividend payments, you know, like from this?
But that's assuming he wanted to retire right now.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't need to do that. I don't think.
Yeah, about the only thing I can really think of is if she has, you know, like if her mortgage, I don't know what her balance is. I probably should have asked it, but if she's got like a small token amount of mortgage, this is up to you, but a wedding gift that would help you out communally as two people living together. You know, again, I'm optimistically assuming you guys are going to be till death do you part. What I would do is just bang out her mortgage so she doesn't have to pay it anymore. Because you two would be living together under the same household. You don't have a mortgage. That right there saves you 3.5% a year.
That's not a bad idea. And then he wouldn't have to worry about rent, you know, giving her a little bit of something. He can just, you know, get rid of that mortgage, and that's that. You know, they can live happily ever after.
Yeah, and that's the happily ever after. If you have a slight hint or you're concerned, what I would do then is I would give her rent. You know, keep it separate. You don't want to be half owner, whether that's on paper or, well, hey, I paid you this, and well, I thought that was a gift. And down the road, I mean, I would just pay rent because you're still making the same statement like, hey, I don't want to be a loafer. I don't want to be a parasite, so I'm paying you rent to help out. And she'll appreciate that. When you start saying, hey, here's half, and now I own half this house, and then you got to rely on her to give you half if she sells it. Fuck, you don't even want to deal with that. But if you really love the girl, you know, this is the one, blah, 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 and it's not an egregious mortgage, you know, like if there's only 100,000 left, I would just, you know what, let's be done with it. Pay that damn thing off, throw the remaining 900,000 into the stock market. And then keep working. And then, you know, that would really shore up your finances really well. I don't think I'm gonna give her some bread for living there. So yeah, you definitely. Yeah, that was the end of it. I just want to go make sure I was being thorough. Let me go to the top. No, that's it. That's all there is. Any other insights onto that one, Chad?
No, just you know, the thing to know is if he gets married, there's nothing bad that will happen from a tax standpoint. I can't speak from a legal standpoint, you know, communal property and all that, but you know, you're right. If they're not going to have kids, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool.